So let's get into it then. Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 101, the Shibuya incident chapter or part 19.
Mm-hmm.
So we see Nanami just for like a hot second is basically I'm going deeper into the joint. But he tells Nobara and I forget what the other chick's name is, but he tells them just to chill up here. They're not strong enough basically to get to the next level.
Yep.
Then
Literally
we get to
said,
see
pump your
I
brakes.
right. Then we get to see what's her face. I don't even know what her name is, but the master of
Yeah,
Todo.
right.
Uh
The crow's power.
right. So she's there and she's fighting the Geji or is his name Geji? I keep
Geto.
yeah, Geto. The Geto imitation. Basically what I liked about this part is it gave me some Hunter vibes in the way that she kind of deduced that he wasn't the original Geto. She was
Yep.
kind of like, all right, this could mean that Gojo's working with dude. Wait, that doesn't really make sense because Gojo wouldn't need to work with anybody to kill us all. So that was good. Um and then from there she was kind of able to just like use her smarts and figure out that he has his body, but this is not the same Ghetto that she knows.
Right.
And it looks like we're about to see her catch some bodies.
Right.
And then finally, the blood homie is going up against Yuji.
Mhm.
Apparently his blood can go past the speed of sound. It looks like. Is
That's
that
kind
what?
of nuts. Like low key. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
kind of
sorry. No,
fast fast.
it can reach the speed of sound. So as fast as the speed of sound, which is still pretty broken. And then if Yuji kind of is able to find a way to, I don't know how he's if this like power itself is going to be like a limitation on him, basically saying that he can't how do I want to say this? Like he basically can't dodge this at all. Or are they gonna like power him up so that he can dodge this, which would then put Yuji on like I can dodge shit the speed of sound, which is kind of crazy. So we'll see how that goes. But that fight is kicking off, and basically, like you said earlier, that's pretty much the chapter. We're just setting up a couple of fights, uh, now in like the second level of this basement, and they look like they'll be pretty interesting.
True. Like as far as well, what's curious and what I'm actually hoping they don't do is that going back to homegirl with the crow's curse and then going up against the smallpox demon, it seems like or like his territory is just a graveyard. And it's like I get that, smallpox took a lot of deaths, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, you could argue that for any kind of plague, curse, or demon. You know what I mean? So what I'm hoping is that they don't keep it basic enough where his ability just centers around death of itself, if that makes sense. Like I hope they
Yeah.
actually go like farther into depth for like the smallpox demon has this specific power because he's a smallpox demon. Because right now it's just like, oh, okay, he's just a widespread death user, which is like cool and all, but I just hope they get like a little bit more into it. As far as like homegirl with like the crow's curse, I am excited to see what she really is about. Considering she said that she really only got buff and like fighting and just like battle what am I trying to say? Like pretty much like she just increased her battle potential in general and didn't go or emphasize too much on her curse, which is going to be curious if they really like stick to that and see how she really is as a first grade sorcerer by only using basic fighting means. So it's definitely going to be interesting, but also regarding this UG and like finding blood going the speed of sound. Like I'm glad they put respect on the speed of sound, saying that his one arm is pretty much like that. That low key should have pierced his body, son. Like, I mean, no matter how you look at it, when you got something moving the speed of sound, if you got defense against that, like, holy crap, like that's kind of
Yeah.
nuts. Look, oh my
True.
god. So no, right now this
Uh,
these battles shaping up to look pretty good. So I'm excited.
yeah. Uh, Only same thing on the ghetto thing. I do think it's still pretty up in the air on what it means when you enter someone's like whatever you want to, what is it called again? They're like zone and
Um,
shit. Uh,
oh, are you talking about like oh wait, hold on. Domain expansion, like territory?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, when they entered like the domain inspection, it seems to be pretty like a random fucking toss up of what actually happens. There's
Right.
not a whole lot of rules around what it means or what it does. So as far as like getting me buying into the story more, I already am in it, but like I think it'll help if they kind of explain it more because that's how I felt early on with Gojo. Like his power and the domain expansion part like really made no sense in the beginning. It wasn't until that like flashback arc where you saw like him in a weaker
Oh,
state and they kind of
right,
explained it more in depth on what each of these things are. That I was like, okay, yeah, I get it and I see why he's like broken.
right.
But the domain expansion part has literally it's kind of like the same gripe I have with the mana zones in Black Clover. It
True.
they say it a lot and they say it in a way where it makes you think that you're supposed to understand what's going on. But I feel like most of the readers don't really know what's going on. Like
Sure.
when someone pulls out, I understand it more in Black Clover than I do here, but still, it's still
I
kind of like
Yeah, it's
what's
still a little obscure, and they may have even like kept it vague for a reason, just so they can even like produce cop outs if necessary,
right.
or try to build more on it. So I mean, I kind of get it, but I definitely feel where you're coming from. It's like it's pretty much like the authors purposefully leaving the reader with questions, and obviously that's gonna bug like avid readers and interpreters like us. So I hear you.
Okay. All right. We are you ready to rate this?
Yeah, we can go ahead.
Okay. I would give this just a solid, decent. It was a good chapter, I think. Interesting, but it's mostly a setup chapter, so I couldn't really give it a decent as hell because I wouldn't say a whole lot of things happen. It's
Right.
more or less just like lining up the pieces for maybe a next set of good chapters.
Right.
And I am very interested to see how Toto's master fights because Toto's such a badass character. I think it's gonna be interesting to see her like go all out for once. So I'm
True.
ready for that.
I'm pretty much in the same boat. I was considering giving it a decent plus, but pretty much the notes that I mentioned regarding the smallpox demon kind of like gives me a possible bummer possibility for the next chapter or two. So I'm just hoping that he lives up to the hype to bring out Homegirl's abilities to the best, because there's still potential that she just slaps this kid, which would be tight in itself. Don't get me wrong, but like right now is where we want her to really show out, so we can really put her on the scaling block with everyone else. So right now, I'm just giving it a solid decent two.
All right, cool.